Antoine Griezmann against Scott McTominay, FC Barcelona against Manchester United, the final. And I'm really looking forward to this one, Harry.
Yeah, me too. It's interesting to see what kind of lineup Griezmann feels. He's, in previous rounds, settled into a sort of almost a front four with Messi, Dembele, Suarez and himself on this near side featuring. So that leaves little room for attacking substitutes late in the game. We'll see if it comes back to bite him.
There's the first Antoine Griezmann attack, and the defending not that decisive initially from Scott McTominay, but he's got Victor Lindelof on hand over there to clear it away. And now Scott McTominay, controlling himself, can bring Manchester United forward for the first time in the final. Sergio Busquets, though, now has it back for Barcelona, and here's Luis Suarez and Eric Bailly back there. I wonder whether this is going to settle into a pattern of an attacking team in Antoine Griezmann and an organised team for Scott McTominay, and Scott will know then that when the chances come, he's got to take them.
Well, it's a really good question, and one that we'll definitely get the answer to come the end of the match. And speaking of lineup, Scott going with the tried and tested esports first 11, I suppose you could say, with some youth players in there, the likes of Damani Mela, the likes of Tuan Zebe at the back. Here he is on the ball now. He's certainly willing to listen to the Manchester United esports captain, Eldridge O'Neill, and it's helped him out so far.
It's at Mason Greenwood, and now Marcus Rashford, who was looking to try and turn inside the Barcelona penalty area. He'd been nice and patient there in the build-up. Scott McTominay. Here comes Antoine Griezmann controlling this Barcelona team with Lionel Messi on the ball, and now Frenkie de Jong. They've been such a free-scoring team, Griezmann's side, all the way to the final. 4s and 5s. He's actually yet to concede a goal, so that's going to be the first problem that Scott has, is to try and somehow have enough possession and generate a chance that's good enough so he can actually score. Here's Mata, and now Damani Mela.
No.
And now Bailly.
No, Scott.
Scott McTominay winning it back for Scott McTominay against Antoine Griezmann. It seems as though Scott wants to keep the ball as long as he can, Harry, when he's got it.
Yeah, certainly. Doesn't want to give up possession too far up the pitch and allow that counter-attack of Barcelona to come in. But look at the high press.
Dembele to Suarez, but that decision's going to go Manchester United's way, which will be relief to Scott McTominay. Suarez just offside.
And I think, Darren, one of the real reasons we've seen such high scoring from Griezmann so far this competition is because of the success he's had with Messi in that 10 role behind the front three. It's been a really proficient counter-attacking squad that he's been able to use, and Messi's been the catalyst for it.
Got to give some credit here, though, to Scott, because he's made a really solid start. He's not allowed Antoine to get the early goal and to get that early momentum and all those early attacks that we've seen in the games on the way to the final, but he has actually managed to make this a relatively even start, which will give him confidence.
Might even argue he's having the lion's share of possession here as well.
Here's Greenwood looking to turn, but Jordi Alba was there for Antoine Griezmann, and here's Dembele. Very cagey start to the final. Griezmann gives it away to Fosu Mensah. Here's Matic, and now McTominay.
No.
Juan Mata won't get there, but it will be a throw into Manchester United and more possession for them inside Antoine Griezmann's half.
It's really rare, Darren, that you'll see a PES game without a chance in the first half an hour in game time. It's clearly means a lot to both of these players. Maybe, you know, the concentration levels being so high that they might be missing a few chances here and there, some runners off the ball. So you can tell it means a lot to them, even though it's a, you know, friendly, just for fun competition. They want to be the victor of it.
Well, in boxing terms, at the moment, the boxer is still on his feet against the puncher. And Scott's going to be delighted with the way that his team have started the final. Here's Frenkie de Jong, and now Suarez. And Scott McTominay, of all people, for Scott McTominay is the defender back there, but I think it's just gone a little bit far. Is that going to be a corner? I think it is. Corner to Antoine Griezmann, and Barcelona, the first set piece for Scott McTominay to have to defend. Corner taken by Messi, headed away by Bailly, and then Busquets didn't gather it. Here's Nelson Semedo, Antoine Griezmann. Still Griezmann with the shot, and the first save for David De Gea. And Scott McTominay survives the first serious test from Antoine Griezmann.
Yeah, it was more of a half chance than anything. It was in an okay position, but De Gea saw it all the way.
Here's Jordi Alba, the rampaging fullback, coming forward. Lindelof is over there. Now Dembele. Messi with the chance, and Messi puts it wide. And that was a very good chance for Antoine Griezmann.
Much better chance, this one. One that really should be finding the back of the net. Did so well to find Messi with the late run. And oh, you just need that to be on target. Maybe that's the first goal here in the final.
That was so close to being 1-0 to Barcelona, 1-0 to Griezmann in the final. The Solidarity Challenge final between Antoine Griezmann and Scott McTominay. Now, Scott McTominay controlling Manchester United, Antoine Griezmann controlling Barcelona, representing their respective clubs. The Ter Stegen in possession here for Antoine Griezmann. We did say privately before this started that we felt that Scott needed to have it close going into the second half, and it looks as though it's going to be that way.
Yeah, I think he'll be happy with the performance so far in the first half, especially if he's able to keep this clean sheet for the next 2 or so in-game minutes. I think that would be a success for him.
There's Dembele. Now De Jong. He's been very well organised defensively all the way through the tournament, Scott. And the decision will go to Manchester United there for the offside. So half-time, Harry, 0-0.
0-0 it is, and I think if we're sticking with the boxing analogy, I think round one would definitely go to McTominay. I mean, Griezmann's certainly had his chances, but I think McTominay will be the happier fighter. Mostly glancing blows, if you will. Not so much saved by the bell. We'll have to see if round two is anything to go by.
He's certainly managed to avoid the big haymaker at this stage. We will see what happens, though, in the second half. 0-0, penalties if necessary. And Scott's defensive organisation that's been a key of his path to the final is there for everybody to see again. Antoine's test in the second half is to try and get the attacks as incisive and as imaginative as they've been in the previous rounds. It's Juan Mata, up to Marcus Rashford. Now Scott McTominay, and the tackle made in there by Jordi Alba. That might well have been the moment for Scott McTominay to score for Scott McTominay, but not to be. Given away there by Dembele. Here's Greenwood. Mellor. Shot by Mellor, and that's over. But it's the first shot that Scott McTominay's had in the final, and another little moment there to increase his confidence.
Yeah, he's building early on in this second half. There was a run on there. I think it was Marcus Rashford that maybe might have just been too close to goal to get a through pass through without Ter Stegen coming to collect. But he gets his shot away at least, and, well, that'll be some warning signs maybe for Griezmann, just reminding him that, well, this final is not a sure thing. McTominay's proven in earlier rounds he can score from open play, so we'll have to see.
Here's Messi, a little bit of space for him. No. And then Griezmann had carried on running, and Antoine Griezmann is in, and he's put it wide. He's disappointed. Eric Bailly was the defender for Scott. That was an opportunity, though, for Antoine Griezmann to be Griezmann's hero.
Yeah, Griezmann with the late run, and, well, Bailly came across. Didn't quite see from that replay whether or not he got a touch or whether it was Griezmann's shot that went wide. Looks like it will be a corner.
And the corner's taken short here to Nelson Semedo, and Mason Greenwood with the block for Scott McTominay. Here's De Jong. Alba. And driven in, and they're all over the place, but they managed to get it clear again. Scott McTominay was helping out Scott there himself, and now the counter-attack's on. Greenwood to Mata, and then Mellor, and Rashford's made the run into the middle. And he's still going here, Mellor, and Nelson Semedo back there to defend it for Barcelona and Griezmann.
Yeah, did just enough there, did Semedo, for Antoine, and it gets to the stage as we approach the time where usually you'd see substitutions come into play on the real-world pitch. Maybe we start to see these players turn to their benches, and maybe Griezmann even turn a bit more attacking, because he surely won't want this to go to pens.
There's Dembele with the cross, and that's cleared away. Every time he's needed a defender back there, Scott McTominay, he's managed to find one, although De Jong's got the ball here, and now Messi, and Messi was looking to turn, and the shot, that's the save by David De Gea. Messi can't believe it, and I'm pretty sure nor can Antoine Griezmann.
And nor can McTominay. I thought for sure that he was in possession of this ball and that there was no way for Messi to get a shot away. Luckily, the Spaniard, De Gea, is right behind it. Only the corner for Griezmann. He's pressing, though.
Yeah, pressure on Scott McTominay.
He's gone, isn't he? No, change player.
Corner to Antoine Griezmann. Lionel Messi's out to take it. Time ticking by, though. Dembele's managed to get the other side of Fosu Mensah, and down he goes. And what's the referee said? He said, oh, it's in! And what a player to score in the final for Antoine Griezmann. It's Antoine Griezmann. It's the fairy tale. It's exactly what Griezmann wanted to see. And Antoine Griezmann leads Scott McTominay 1-0.
Oh my gosh. How is it not a penalty?
Well, for all his pressure and for all his pressing, Griezmann gets the reward he was looking for. I felt a little sympathetic towards him, considering the foul just before should have been called a penalty. I think the referees played a really good advantage here, as Dembele goes down under a heavy challenge, but Griezmann there thought about taking it on his left, looking to then shift it onto the right boot. That was a heavy challenge at the back. Just switched feet at the last second, did the virtual Griezmann. And it's advantage to the French international.
Well, the virtual Griezmann has made Antoine Griezmann very, very happy, and it's advantage to him in the final with not too long remaining for Scott McTominay to try and find an answer. He's got to throw caution to the wind now and really get on the attack. Here's Greenwood, and now Rashford. Rashford's wriggling through. Alba, the defender, and did really well.
And if you take a look in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, that little blue bar means that Griezmann's gone on to the more defensive side of things. Maybe very wary of defending this one-goal lead. It's uncharacteristic of Antoine. Usually he scores, again, to use a boxing analogy, punches in bunches. Looks like he's happy to sit on this one-goal advantage and not give away too much at the back. I think it's quite smart at this stage of the game.
Just trying to keep the ball at the moment, although there's some space here for Alba into Griezmann again. And it's through to David De Gea. Launched forward and flicked on. Here's Mason Greenwood. Scott McTominay coming forward. He's got two up there with Mason Greenwood, who's still on the move. Downey almost went over it. Turned out it was a fair challenge. Now the man who's got the goal so far, Antoine Griezmann, out to Lionel Messi. Fosu Mensah across there to win it back for McTominay, but he gives it away to Nelson Semedo. Vidal to Griezmann, lovely turn. Tees up Dembele, side foot straight at De Gea. Second chance, pulls it back, 2-0. And he's only gone and got both of them.
I don't believe this. I don't believe it.
Antoine Griezmann leads 2-0. And the virtual Antoine Griezmann scored both goals.
Oh my God.
Well, I think that's the goal that seals it.
He scored two, man.
The Barca players are celebrating, and, well, for McTominay, he'll be so disappointed.
Well in it.
He's defended stoutly all solidarity challenge long throughout every round so far, but in the end his undoing is well, it's just a mix-up at the back between De Gea and Lindelof, I think it was. Just needs someone to put a boot through it, put a fist through it, get it away from the area. Instead it's Griezmann first to react with Dembele, and he sets his virtual self up for his brace, and that surely should be the title now.
Well, he's had to work really hard for it in the final, Antoine Griezmann, but two little moments where he needed the incisive finish, and the virtual version of himself has delivered on both occasions. And it looks like it's going to be disappointment in the final for Scott McTominay unless he can get things done very, very quickly.
By very quickly, we mean almost instantaneously. From this attack needs a goal, and, you know, even if he gets that goal, Griezmann's going to play possession.
Free kick by Matic was headed away. Here's Messi. Antoine Griezmann in possession. It's all he needs at the moment to keep the ball. It's been a fantastic effort, though, by Scott, because he's given Griezmann more trouble than anybody else has all the way through to the final.
And although we haven't seen too many attacking forays from him, maybe unlucky not to get a goal.
Mata hits it straight at Nelson Semedo. Here's Messi. Mella onto Rashford.
Look at him.
Free kick to Manchester United, to Scott McTominay.
Yeah, intentional foul this was, I think, from Busquets. I feel like Griezmann just wants to slow down the flow and not give McTominay any chance to get himself a lifeline in this final. It's smart, it's clever, bit of gamesmanship.
No, that's a foul as well. If he gets hat-trick, I'm quitting.
And, well, I think Antoine has done enough here.
On to Lionel Messi. Fosu Mensah went in and didn't leave anything to the imagination. Scott McTominay's got to get it forward. Mata onto Rashford. One back well, though, for Antoine Griezmann by Frenkie de Jong. And the full-time whistle.
The world champion!
A bit of practice. Get me a bit of practice, yeah, I'm coming for it.
And Antoine Griezmann has won the Solidarity Challenge by 2-0.